Hello everybody, welcome to Tunnels Hardcore Media. Here we have it, Lancaster, Schmobdale, Landscatter, Palmdale, called it. And I have recorded stuff here in the high desert. I've seen UFOs recorded, those are pretty shitty, that's why I put them out there. But yeah, like I said, sometimes they are seem like attracted to people like me, and I've seen some shootout, 1, 2, 3 UFOs. I've been around places, installations, and stuff like that, and where there is higher activity, different corridors between bases, stuff like that. So they are attracted to Palmdale because also people take flights from Palmdale to Area 51 and other installations to do classified stuff. A lot of different reasons. But Plat 42, I have been told by people that they had the 1947 Roswell UFO there at Plat 42. Seem to have, from different reports I've personally gotten. One lady told me that her father, one lady told me that her father told her, this is when I was a kid, that they had the UFO there from that crash, or at least from one of them. So she's not the only one that told me that they had there at the hangar at Plat 42. So there's reason why ETs go there, along with Russians, Chinese, whatever. UFO, UAP could have their drones or do surveillance and reconnaissance. This is about, also I got debunked this BS about, let's see, information supposed to left out. Alright, let's
There's, visual evidence, photographic evidence, video evidence, radar evidence, whatever the hell it is. It moves in a way that would turn a human being into jello if they're inside of it.
Okay, something I noticed, constellations. This is like a constellation. A lot of people don't know that some of ETs, they come from these constellations or these stars. And so it doesn't surprise that this looks like a constellation.
Of it. The G-force, no one would survive.
I get that question as much as almost any question. Do you think that we have aliens coming, flying around or whatever?
What do you
do.
think?
I don't care what you think.
Earlier this week, U.S. Congress discussed unidentified anomalous phenomena, also known as UFOs. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but I just got to say, we're in a really weird timeline where I get to open a video that way. What we're going to do in this video is play a few highlights from what just took place in Congress earlier this week. Then I have a conversation that I had recently with Joseph Jordan, who's the national director of MUFON South Korea.
I do care what he thinks, but yeah, I don't, because I already know the truth. I mean, I don't really, it doesn't matter.
And he...
But it needs to be, I don't think Trump, I don't see Trump disclosing all that stuff about UFOs, because it's a military, industrial, and intelligence complex. Yeah, the military want to use it for secret military purposes, and intelligence that's also doing the same, and also making money off of this technology and using it for their purposes. And Trump is very pro-military. He wants to keep a lot of this stuff secret for military purposes and for the proxy wars that are out there. So
provides a layer of research that he's conducted over a 30-year period that I think unlocks some of the mystery in this. Let's do it.
In our previous panel, we had Grush, and he had testified to say that some of these were interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
Ma'am, I'm not qualified, certainly as a scientist or otherwise, to speculate points of origin. I looked at everything from a
He is
scientific perspective.
qualified.
So if you look at, for example, instantaneous acceleration, which was one of the observables of the program that I belong to, ATIP, the human body can withstand about 9 G forces for a short period of time before you suffer negative biological consequences, blackouts and ultimately redouts and even death. Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is one of this older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G forces before you start having structural failure, meaning that the airframe begins to disintegrate while you're flying. The vehicles we're talking about are performing
Thousands G's.
in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
So are you, I guess, would it be safe to infer that they're living craft?
I'm not prepared at this point to state.
I'll say it. I'll say it because I know personally. Okay, they can. We do have living creatures in these craft, but the energy nullifies gravity and its effects. It's like they're in their own dimension in a way. And so when they're in these craft, it can go back, forth, up and down all over the place. All right, it isn't going to affect them because it's interdimensional. It breaks, quantum physics down and stuff, and molecular structure, atoms, all this other stuff on an atomic level. And space-time is different to ours. All right, they move differently in space-time than humans do. We are moving in slow motion. They are moving faster. And me, I've been through different dimensional type of stuff as well. And so how we move is in slow motion right now. How we move right now is slow motion. We're moving in slow time. They're going a lot faster in time and space. And they can slow time down as well. So there could be living craft, etc. But there are ETs in this craft that are moving, that can move thousands of times faster than humans can, where the flesh in our bones can't, take that. And how they move through space and time is a lot different.
For the record, is something alive or not? Because even that definition is hard. There was a time in science we thought that life required oxygen, and we now know that's not true. There are anaerobic bacteria that thrive in oxygen environments that lack oxygen.
There are, even in space, we've gotten stuff from space where microbes can live. Mars, the moon, different other celestial rocks that we've gotten, microbes can live and stuff like that. So you don't need oxygen.
And so also same with photosynthesis. When I was in college, I was told everything is derived from photosynthesis as a form of energy. In reality, that's not true. There are things that live off of chemosynthesis. So we're constantly having to reevaluate our understanding of what the definition of life is.
They're having to reevaluate what their understanding of the definition of life is a very interesting first point. The second, that they're raising this question of interdimensionality as opposed to just interplanetary, is also a very important point. Then the third point that I think is very interesting here is that the question of, are these living crafts, is being raised. So let's continue.
I gotta fact check stupid Google, YouTube. It's not a hypothesis, it's real. They're not putting out fact, they're not.
To follow this trail of breadcrumbs where it leads. Here's the next clip.
To your knowledge, any communication?
Don't trust all Wikipedia. There's a lot of fake stuff with Wikipedia.
With a non-human life form?
So the term communication is a bit of a trick word because there's verbal communication like we're having now. The problem is you also have nonverbal.
They are psychic, telepathic. I've been over this a lot of times. They do things psychically, telepathically, which humans can too. We just need to find some of that. There have been times when I've been able to communicate psychically and telepathically as well. It's about opening your mind up and relearning this is another reason they want to keep stuff secret, is because they want those abilities. They want to keep our minds closed off.
Verbal communication. And so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal meaning, when a Russian reconnaissance aircraft comes into U.S. airspace, we scramble two F-22s, and we are certainly communicating intent and capability.
That's different.
I think the same goes with this. We have these things that are being observed over controlled U.S. airspace, and they're not really doing a good job hiding themselves. They're making it pretty obvious they have the ability to even interfere with our nuclear equities and our nuclear readiness.
This ties into another thing that was
I think that's
alleged
funny.
in Congress.
I
This is a
love
20-second
that.
clip. Watch this.
At one point, you had said that there has been harmful activity or aggressive activity. Has any of the activity been aggressive, been hostile in your reports?
I know of multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured, and the activity.
Yeah, there are lots of people. This is one reason you keep it with contractors, is that you don't have to pay them for health insurance a lot of times. Some do get some health insurance, but it's to keep that deniability there versus military, where, you know, they've been keeping a secret too, corruption in the military, where you get cancer from this energy. And this is where Elon Musk can come in and make, you know, re-engineer it, safer energy, where you don't get cancer, because the stuff that ETs are using, they're not going to get all that cancer. They could. They still can. You know, cancer stuff, their lifespans are different from humans. Okay? But humans, we get cancer from this stuff. Okay? And we'll die from that radiation exposure that's toxic.
And I got by UAPs or by people within
UFOs.
the federal government?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there has
Yeah.
been activity
Both.
by alien or non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans.
I can't get into the specifics in an open environment.
I can and I will. It's different. It's also through abduction too. Attacking from lights that they put off on us as well. It's not just abduction, but there's lights that ETs, non-humans, put out, and it attacks us as well, and it can cause cancers, diseases, and something. It changes the molecular biology. I will talk about it.
But at least the activity that I personally witnessed, and I have to be very careful here, because you don't, you know, they tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right? So what I personally witnessed, myself and my wife, was very disturbing.
Very disturbing
Yeah.
is something, it's a thread I want us to follow, like I said. Now, you might remember a few months ago, I think it was 7 months ago, when Tucker Carlson, of all people, went on the Joe Rogan Experience. And this was an observation that he made that I think is interesting. This got my mind thinking about all of this in a different capacity. And this is going to basically lead into the portion of the interview that I conducted with Joseph Jordan. So let's play this out. This is about a, minute or so clip.
I interrupt this video with an exciting announcement. We now have a website. We have merch that I designed myself and amazing. The book club with special guests like Stephen Meyer has been.
template that every other society before us has used is a spiritual one.
Mm-hmm.
There is a
Yeah, still
whole
there.
world that we can't see that acts on.
The thing is, stupid religions. Oh God, the stupid religious stuff, man. And these religious people want to put their own spin on this stuff, and ETs and what's really out there near death right now is like these stupid religions.
On people, the supernatural world that's acting on us all the time for good and bad. Once you discard your very, very recent assumptions, relatively speaking, about how the world works, you're like, well, that kind of seems like the obvious explanation, right?
Now, a clue.
We live in a simulation. We are in a simulation. We are in a flesh bag sort of type of simulation. What we are in is not real. It's like it is, but it's not real. Okay? This isn't exactly what I could go through the other side. I could like move through time, space sometimes or whatever. You can see us moving in slow motion. And it's like I could be over here, go past the speed of light, and be on the other side. You're gonna see where we are moving in slow motion, and I can move back and forth between person to person. And you guys will notice that we are moving very, very slow like this. On the other side, and how ETs or non-humans are moving is a lot faster. Speed of thought and how things are processed and how we move and everything is a lot different. You know, we are in a simulation really. And a lot of this doesn't matter. Computers don't matter. Money doesn't matter. The health and everything else. It does matter, but it doesn't matter. So
a missing piece within this entire question that is so important.
I just wasn't seeing anything that was actually proving that we had something that was visiting us from other worlds. It was sketchy at best. And remember, this is back in the early 90s. As I had my...
You don't know what I do then. You don't. Let's see.
It was going to be with the abduction experience, not with the UFO experience. So our focus went deeper into the abduction research. As a group of researchers or field investigators I had working with me, we decided that was going to be our focus. So we took it and focused in that direction, started interviewing these abduction researchers or abduction experiencers, trying to get their stories, looking for the same thing that the leading abduction researchers in the world were doing, trying to find answers to the important questions. Could this experience be stopped? Why is it happening to certain people? Those are the key questions that all of the researchers were.
And if you look at abductions, hybrid races that ETs are creating through abductions, and like rapes taking place, stuff like that. It's multi-generational. It goes back over 100 years or whatever, or even longer. Who knows? Sometimes it stops with some families, sometimes it skips. And it's not always about breeding purposes. Some of them just do it because they get off on that to humans. There's good bad with extraterrestrials, non-human entities. They're good and bad. Some are there for higher learning, stuff like that, and for us to go beyond the flesh of humans, because we can be much more than humans. We are much more than humans. We're not human. We're not just human. And we got to get out of that stupid BS of thinking. We're beyond stupid human religion and tribalism. It's going on forever. And so
we're looking for answers for. As I started exploring the abduction research, I started to realize that there was something else going on amongst them that I wasn't understanding. And as I started to focus in and listening to their conversations between themselves at our meetings, I realized that they were looking for help to these horrific experiences that they were having. And they were looking for in avenues I was unfamiliar with. And those avenues were into the New Age metaphysical realm. It seemed to be that there were people in that realm that were offering types of help, all crazy types of help, for these people to stop their experiences. But none of them were really helping. But it was at least somebody out there was trying to help these people. They thought that we at MUFON could help them, but we couldn't. We didn't have answers for this. We were relying on them for the answers to what this was about. So as I focused more on the abduction experience, I had to check on what this was they were offering from the New Age realm. As I did, it sucked me in hook, line, and sinker. I didn't realize at the time that I myself was missing something in my life. And this New Age metaphysical realm was offering something that sounded tangible, but I wasn't sure that it really was. But it was very seductive in nature. It was like I could have my spirituality, but the only difference is from Christianity or any of the other belief systems is without accountability. And to me, as somebody that had come from nowhere in religion, that was an enticement, let's sort of say. I could have the best of both worlds. So as I explored the New Age metaphysical realm, I started opening up to other.
I'll tell you right now, this stuff goes beyond religion, and if people do their research on these, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Catholicism, stuff like that, you see it's all made up from tribes that have had their own versions of God and their own, made up texts, stuff like that. In those religions, there's some good scriptures, there's some good, stuff on there. But there's so much about of hate, killing off each other, and enslaving others. It's just crap. It's just crap that needs to be trashed. And, why people go more enlightenment with Buddhism, Taoism, stuff like that. So, it's
areas that I could look at this phenomenon from. So, initially, when I started out, my perspective on the UFO phenomenon was as an agnostic humanist. But here I've had an opportunity now to look at it from another perspective. And that perspective is from the New Age metaphysical realm. And it's definitely a different perspective to view things from. I spent about 4 years in that New Age metaphysical realm as a New Age practitioner myself. But I still wasn't getting answers to what this phenomenon was, or answers to the two big questions. Why was this happening to certain people, and could it be stopped? It was in 1996, the end of the year there. We had a very busy year between work and overtime at work and the research that we've been working on, a lot of case studies that we were doing. I was getting pretty exhausted. I had a girlfriend at the time that was helping me in this research. And what was interesting about our relationship is here I was a New Age practitioner, and here she was a professing Christian. We agreed that we'd get along fine as long as we didn't talk about politics and religion, which we kept that aside. But it was a one point in that year, the end of the year, when she saw that I was getting pretty exhausted, and especially with a couple cases that I had been working with.
And this is with me as well. I was so consumed by UFOs, ETs, and my family was scared because of how it consumed me, supernatural, except that is my life, is the paranormal. And you can see outside this dimension, people like me could do that. So they're not going to understand where humans aren't going to understand where I'm coming from. There's other people that are outside on different levels that can understand it and have the same experience. They're just not going to.
And she's pulled me aside and she says, I'm concerned about you. I'm concerned that you need protection in this realm. I don't feel that this realm is what you think it is. And I think there's something very dark here that you should protect yourself from, and you don't have that protection. And I said, sure I do. And I pulled out my crystals and I showed her and I said, this one helps me here, this one helps me there. And she says, no. She says, it's something far beyond that you really need. And I said, so what are you offering here? And she grabs a Bible and she hands it to me and she says, it's in here. And I said, no, we agreed not to go there in this relationship.
Right.
And she said, you tell people you're the most open minded, objective investigator out there. I said, yeah, I do. And she says, so you'll take a look at this, right? Now, well, I'd just been had. You don't tell the girlfriend, no, you're not going to look at it. So I said, all right, I give you a few minutes. Show me what you got. What was amazing was in that about 15, 20 minutes that she shared with me this gospel message from this Bible was probably one of the most profound moments in my life. I had heard the gospel message growing up as a child.
And I would let this keep going, but I've had my own bullshit experience with brainwashers, with Christians and other groups, Catholicism and stuff, about protection, using, God's protection. It's all bullshit and stuff like that. But some of it is your own psychic energy and being able to make barriers. There's different stuff for that. And so I'm going to see about fast forwarding here.
And gave their life to Jesus Christ. But who told me, you need to take this finding back to where you came from. Take this truth back to where you came from.
But one thing I didn't get to, this thing was about how aliens are demons. That is complete bullshit. And these are what these idiots, Christians, Catholics, whatever, are trying to spin it as. They say this is why you need God and stuff like that. That's complete bullshit. That's not what it is. They are intelligent creatures, all right? They're not demons, like I keep saying, and I'm always right on this. I always have been. Okay? There's good and bad with these creatures. Some of them can put our worst criminals to shame with what they do, okay? And some of them are here to enlighten us and to teach us, of psychic, abilities and telepathic abilities. So I just wanted pretty much the gist of it is that these are not demons. Those are stupid things that they use out there, narratives, to have their own, to make their own religion keep going, and give it not just meaning, but to have a reason, and there isn't. So anyways, take care.